You've probably heard it before. You need to be more visible, speak up more, advocate for yourself. But what happens when you do and people say you're trying too hard? When you follow up by email, they say you are documenting everything. When you thank your boss, they say you are a kiss up. And when you stay quiet, you get ignored. So how do you stand out without stepping on toes, playing politics, or selling out your values? Let's ask someone who figured this out 2,500 years ago, Confucius. Welcome to The Strategic Communicator. I'm Michelle Ehrlich, Army-trained intelligence analyst turned workplace strategist. Every week, I break down timeless communication wisdom from Confucius to Carnegie and show you how to use it to grow your career, protect your paycheck, and stay sane in the workplace. This episode is for the thoughtful professional who wants to be respected and recognized at work without being fake, aggressive, or political. Let's talk about how to communicate with grace and power, no matter where you work or who you work for. If you're someone who believes in doing good work, staying respectful, and avoiding office drama, you are not wrong. But here's the truth. The workplace doesn't just reward good work. It rewards visible, well-communicated work. And that's where a lot of smart people, ethical, even high-performing people get stuck. Because if you speak up, you are risking being misread. If you follow up too much, people think you are micromanaging up. If you don't play the game, you risk getting benched. So how do you get ahead without playing dirty or looking like a kiss ass? That's where Confucius comes in. Let's start with who was Confucius. He was a Chinese philosopher and a public servant. Born over 2,500 years ago, he wasn't a king, he wasn't a general, he was a strategic thinker focused on how to live and lead with virtue, balance, and quiet power. He taught that harmony and order are more powerful than dominance. Character is a deeper influence than charisma, and people rise best when their speech and actions reflect self-awareness and respect for others. In short, Confucius was the original workplace communication strategist, and his approach still works in open office plans, Zoom calls, and Slack threads. Let's walk through 5 key Confucian strategies to help you stand out without selling out. Number 1, lead with questions, not performances. Confucius said, "The man who asks a question is a fool for a minute. The man who does not remains a fool forever." When you want to show value, don't perform. Don't over-explain. Don't posture. Just ask smart, strategic questions like, would it be helpful if I focused on X, Y, or Z this week? I want to make sure I'm delivering on your priorities. Is this direction still aligned with what matters most? You're not bragging. You are signaling maturity, accountability, and emotional intelligence. That's influence, quietly delivered. Number 2, use reflective recaps. Instead of legal-sounding notes, you don't need to send per-hour conversation emails that make people tense up. Instead, recap informally and intentionally. Try, "Hey, just recapping my main takeaways from our chat to stay synced. Let me know if I misunderstood anything." Or, "Based on our last conversation, I'm planning to tackle X, Y, or Z by Thursday. Let me know if that timing works for you." You're showing clarity, not building a case. You're making your boss's job easier, which, by the way, makes them want to pull you up with the team. Confucius called this ritualized respect, doing what's expected with grace, not performance. Number 3, make other people the hero, sincerely. You don't need to shout about your contributions, but you do need to build bridges. One of the best ways, make your manager or team look good, genuinely. Say, "That idea really worked. I ran with it and it helped move things forward." Or, "I appreciated your insight. It gave me a clearer direction." This is not kissing up. This is strategic generosity. You are showing that you're coachable, collaborative, and safe to champion. Confucius believed we rise by lifting others, and that starts with language. Number 4, respond with calm, not ego. When something feels off, when you get overlooked, interrupted, or misunderstood, it's tempting to shut down or fight back. Instead, Confucius would say, "To be wrong is nothing unless you remember it afterward." Respond with grounded professionalism. Something like, "Thanks for the feedback. Can I clarify something that might have been missed?" Or, "I may be misunderstanding. Mind if I share how I saw it?" You're not defending, you're not blaming, you are standing firm with humility. And that's rare and respected. Number 5, know when to pivot with dignity. Sometimes you are doing everything right, but the environment just doesn't align with your values, strengths, or growth. Confucius said, When the way is lost, seek another path. If you're consistently misread, passed over, or emotionally drained, it may not be about your communication style. It may be time to shift environments. There's no shame in protecting your peace. Growth isn't always vertical. Sometimes it's a lateral move that unlocks everything. Here are some FAQs I get a lot on this topic. What if I'm a remote worker? Remote workers often miss out on spontaneous visibility, so your communication has to be more intentional, but still human. Send brief, regular updates with a friendly tone. Ask for feedback, not just task lists. Turn off autopilot and occasionally ask, what's one thing I could do to make collaboration easier for you? This shows initiative without overstepping. What if I'm neurodivergent or socially anxious? First of all, you don't need to fake extroversion to succeed. You do need to find structured ways to express clarity and intent. Try having a recurring message template for follow-ups, using bullet points in emails or meetings, practicing a one-sentence check-in like, here's my plan and how I think it aligns. Feel free to guide me if I'm off. Confucius would say, self-knowledge is the root of all wisdom. Use your natural strengths, pattern recognition, systems thinking, empathy, and build from there. What if I don't want to play politics at all? You don't have to. But remember, staying completely silent is also a political choice, and often one that gets you left behind. The key is ethical influence, saying what needs to be said with tact, truth, and timing. You don't need to manipulate. You need to be visible, valuable, and aligned. That's strategy, not politics. So a recap, why this matters to your paycheck, here's the bottom line. If you don't learn how to communicate clearly, confidently, and strategically at work, it will cost you promotions, raises, opportunities, peace of mind. Confucius teaches us that influence doesn't come from dominance. It comes from knowing your place, owning your voice, and speaking with respect. And you don't need to kiss up, but you do need to show up intentionally. If this resonated with you, if you're someone who wants to be respected, valuable, visible, and promoted without changing who you are, this channel is for you. Subscribe to The Strategic Communicator right now. Every week, I break down one of the world's greatest communication thinkers, like Confucius, Dale Carnegie, Lao Tzu, and more, to help you grow your career, protect your paycheck, and master influence without manipulation. Subscribe, comment below, and let me know which Confucius tip hit home for you. Bottom line, you don't have to play dirty, but if you don't learn how to play wisely with clarity, tact, and presence, it could cost you real money. Promotions, raises, leadership roles, they don't just go to the hardest worker. They go to the clearest communicator. So no, you're not being political. You're being strategic with your voice, and that's how smart professionals win.